How's it going, everybody? This is Luke from Coffee House, and today I'm with Harrison, and we are actually going live on Instagram, so there's going to be a bit of eyes going every which way. And yeah, we wanted to do this type of video where, you know, regardless of who's watching, we wanted to see all of these teas at once. We got a handful of teas in that a lot of the teas we haven't tried together.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like a first, first foray into a lot of these teas. I want to just like kind of get our first reactions going. So anyways, probably like, an hour or so, we're going to do this, answer any questions that come in about tea, which will be fun. I think that'll be enjoyable. But yeah, so we've got a ton of brewing equipment here, and we've got a ton of tea, and we've got an hour or so. So hey, John, by the way.
Hey, John.
We're going to, just jump into it here. So we got a ton of teas from Ikkyu, which is one of our importers, and then Ian over at Unomi. Two really nice Japanese tea importers that we've been working with, and so we're really honored to have this stuff, and it's going to be, I think, just really interesting to try a lot of these. Some of these are just the best matchas and the best teas we could ever find, so we're doing that now. We even have, I see it over there, we got to break into that later in the video. The best, most expensive matcha we could find. So anyways, like I said, we're going to kind of look periodically, answer some questions, but also just talk about these teas. So let's jump into it. Anyways, what do you want to do first here?
Okay, so I kind of have a plan. I want to start pungent and strong.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with a Gyokuro. So this is one that we actually have had the luxury of trying so far. It's called Yohei, and it's a competition grade Gyokuro. And this is from Yame area, which is in the Fukuoka prefecture in the southernmost island of Kyushu in Japan. But just the packaging alone, you've got this amazing wrap on there, lots of information on the back. It's just a super cool tea, and thank you, Luke. But this is one that, it was the first one we tried when we first got our first wave of samples in, and it blew us away. So I wanted to start strong here.
Yeah, so for the people watching who don't maybe know what a Gyokuro is, what is that?
So a Gyokuro, and the reason I say starting out strong is Gyokuro is going to be tea that is heavily shaded. So in the world of Japanese tea making, the thing that makes Japanese tea, especially when we're talking about green tea, is the way it's preserved is by steaming and rolling the leaves. So, largely that is. So what that happens is it preserves the freshness of the leaf, and just kind of it makes it super. Again, you get a lot of real taste from the land. Lots of umami flavors, all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, Gyokuro, it is shaded for the entire time that it is grown. So with that, it is working overtime to produce chlorophyll.
Yeah. Here, I'll grab a little thing. I want to show them what this looks like.
Sweet, let's do that.
So, and even more baseline than that, what is the difference between a Chinese tea and why? Because this, I think when a lot of people see this, they're gonna look at it and be like, this is so different.
Yeah.
It looks different than the tea I drink, and you're brewing it in something that I don't think people are familiar with. So I'll try and get it in there. There we go. So you can see those small broken leaves like that. What's the deal with that?
So essentially, because it is so jam-packed with nutrients, again, you get that really dark green that we got in there that Luke had showed, that comes from that steaming. Generally with, more Chinese tea and Taiwanese teas, a lot of times it's to keep the freshness and stop it from oxidizing, it's kind of pan-fried and, kind of literally aerated over high heat to kind of trap everything in. And just stop that oxidation process. Whereas this, especially with the water, it just keeps that freshness and that very brittle nature of the tea, which is something that is very characteristic to this. And so when you see tea that's so broken up and rolled like this, that means, I guess, one of the most important things that you would want is you want to steep it much quicker. So it's nice, especially if you're in a hurry. I know when I'm making sencha, a lot of times my steeps are either immediate or, 30 seconds after. The thing with Gyokuro is, and I'm steeping it in my ceramic kyusu here, which is a traditional Japanese teapot specifically for Gyokuro and Sencha. It generally is going to enhance the flavor. I like the way that ceramic kind of traps the heat. You'll also see me using glass kintos too. These are all great options. They all work very well. I just generally like the flavor and the texture that you get from the kyusu. But I am running this tea a little bit long. So for Gyokuros, you kind of want them to go for, about like 2 minutes, 3 minutes for their first steep to kind of, really get the flavor in, especially because it's really high in that chlorophyll. It's really high, in just lots of these nutrients from the shading process. You want to get the most from this tea as possible. So let's dive in. We've just hit that mark. So Gyokuro translates literally to jade green or jade dew, and you will see shortly. This first steep generally is going to be pretty light. I mean, you can still see that green color in there, but the second steep is where it really comes out.
Yeah, and it's cool. You can see like I don't know if they'll be able to see it in there, but you can see it's like almost suspended. Like it looks like almost gelatinous. It's really, really something special. And so, what is it about this? When you tried it with me the first time, what is it about this steep that's so polarizing? Why? We'll talk about it when we do it, but why does it taste that way?
Between brewing and the tea, there's a couple different things that are going on. So for your first steep of Gyokuro, kind of one of the, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but you're generally gonna make a really intense concentrate. Yeah. And the reason it tastes that way, again, is because of that oxidation process, or the growing process of keeping it shaded. It really just packs those flavors in. But we brew it strong because Gyokuro is like the Cadillac of teas.
I didn't want to taste it yet.
Cheers. We'll take a sip and then I'll keep going. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's also too. I mean, that's one of the things we love about this Gyokuro is it's very even. The umami isn't. It isn't like offensive to the palate, which it's not necessarily that it's going to be offensive, but sometimes it can taste almost like chicken brothy or like dashi.
Like salty.
And salty, exactly. And that is, I mean, it's a wonderful, amazing thing, and it just like makes you feel so good after you're finished drinking it. But sometimes first thing in the morning, you expect something a little bit more on the sweeter side, which is why I generally will drink sencha in the morning. But this is super mild, super sweet. That deep umami is just like, it just fills your mouth.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of, I want to keep going, but I don't want to get too caffeinated. So I'm trying to like keep it even. So I got us a little dump if you want to ever partake.
I'm committed.
So this is, what we're looking at here is the second steep.
Yeah.
And so how many steeps, for those interested, how many steeps can you do with like a tea like this?
So the short answer is as many as you want.
Fair.
The long answer is I generally, part of it's ADHD, but I generally get I want to move on to something else after the third or fourth, especially in testing and all that kind of stuff. But with Gyokuro specifically, I always run 4 to 5 steeps.
Yeah.
It starts to kind of just get an easy drink in, very light after that. But what I do is I wait to, leave the leaves for a while, kind of dry them out, and I actually toss them with ponzu or soy sauce, and I eat them over rice.
That's what I've heard.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
I know we tried that for the first time. I think it was just it was at our tasting that we did.
Yeah.
We just took a bunch of the leaves of the Gyokuro and just started popping them in after we were done. But that's what I recommend with Gyokuro, at least. I know a lot of black teas you can get way more steeps out of, but with the green teas, that first and second steep is where you're going to get most of the flavor, most of the theanine, and all of the caffeine, most definitely. Yeah. So this, you can even see, the second time it's coming out much slower. Those broken leaves soak up a lot of moisture, but when you hear people talk about the importance of savoring every single last drop of tea that's in your kyusu or your teapot, it's because, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but with every drop, it just gets a hair darker. Every little drop will contribute color to this tea. So that's why the kyusu has this side handle here, if you see. is because it's designed to hold like this, and you can kind of flick it. So it's perfect for Japanese tea that, again, because it's got that freshness, it absorbs a lot of that water. So you want to be able to really, rock and roll with it. But now we're good.
Sweet.
So let's try this one.
So yeah, second steep.
So second
here.
steep. Second steep is where the fun begins. The first one's kind of like an introduction to the tea. It's kind of,
See in there, it's like kind of like jelly-like. It's
Yeah.
really interesting.
And that's all that chlorophyll. Cheers.
Oh
Yeah, so much sweeter. Again, I mean, it's just this one is where you kind of get a lot of the caffeine that is kind of dissipated from the first one that kind of creates a lot of that umami with the L-theanine.
Yeah.
And this one, it's just so much more balanced. So this one, you can kind of really taste so much more of the processing of the tea. Like you can taste the shading in here. Because you get the sweetness. This is where you kind of find a lot of toasty notes too.
Yep.
So this is the one where you kind of get that like almost rice-like sweetness, almost this kind of starchy elements of the tea. And you hear by and large, and this is not just limited to the world of Japanese green tea, but in the world of most tea, is that the second steep is generally going to be the best and the most sweetest. I know when I hear a lot of people talk about, Taiwanese high mountain oolongs, all that kind of stuff, people are always like, oh, wait till that second steep, wait till that second steep. And that is completely true all the way across the board.
Leaf and Latte asked, can I add sugar? And if I do you think that's ever an instance where that enhances it? Or like, what do you think? Yeah.
So I think that it's one of the reasons that, I love the world of beverages and foods so much, is that, I am not somebody that thinks that you shouldn't do what you need to do to it to make it good and make it be where you want it. Right. I personally, especially with Gyokuros, I just drink straight up. I know lots of people that will, add sweetener to it. I know like matcha, very popularly, a lot of people add a lot of sweetener to it. And you hear a lot of, especially with high quality stuff, people will say, don't add this because it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
The thing that I always say to that is you need to add what you need to enjoy it to its fullest extent because it's meant to be enjoyed. It's not meant to be hated. So
it's like a pipeline too. You'll get to a point where like you're like, oh, this. You'll get to that point. It's the same thing with like coffee. Like I remember, I would be like obsessed. I'd like add things to it and everything. And like at the first start of my journey, I felt myself like suffering through coffee.
Yeah.
And like this is so bitter or whatever. But now it's like there's a different type of appreciation. So like that's just how it goes. It's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now we've gotten into more of like what I don't want to say our baseline stuff, but like this is an entry level point to some of the other ones that we're going to talk about right now. But again, that's the inside of that packaging. Really cool. I want to go wherever this is.
Yeah, the sweet, beautiful faded sky.
You want me to wash out the Kyushu real quick?
Yeah, if you could do that. And also, would you mind grabbing me the tally as well?
Sure.
So next up, I'm going to do some jumping around here. There is one that I've been talking about for a long time, and it's called Kohaku Platinum. It is a Japanese oolong, which is something that you don't see too often. You'll see it more than you will see other Chinese prepared Japanese teas. But this is one of the best oolongs I have ever had. And I am a big fan of Taiwanese, high mountain oolongs. I love a lot of, Fujian, just tons of different oolongs from all across, Southeast Asia. But this one is something super special. So I'm gonna crank up the temperature here. I'm gonna take it, generally I always pull this one at like 190 to 195, but I'm actually gonna crank this up to a full 200. I've been finding lately, I have been really enjoying, a lot of my, more oxidized teas, black teas, oolongs at almost boiling temperature. One of my coworkers at the cafe, is really into tea, and he had put me onto this recently, where he was like, "Oh no, you gotta like put it at boiling," and I'm like, "I don't know." Yes, thank you. Sorry. I was like, "I don't know. I'm very used to kind of putting it at 190, but We had tasted a couple different oolongs at this higher temperature, and it was just popping. So I want to see what it does to this one. But this one is made by a master tea maker. It is grown in, I forget which prefecture it's grown in. It does not say on the back, but it is processed up in Kyoto. It is not grown in Kyoto though. And this guy who makes this, he's been winning a bunch of tea awards in Paris for just specifically the way he processes tea.
Yeah.
So that, like this Kohaku Platinum, it's not necessarily that he grows the tea, it's that he just is really famous for the way he can oxidize and make these teas just taste super amazing. And this oolong, again, it's just absolutely bonkers.
That's crazy.
So here, we'll be very
There's
exact
that
on
guy
this
again.
one.
And all of these we got up on the website, of course. Really exciting. This one, I mean, this I love too, because we don't have, most of the teas that we have are green teas. So it's cool to have like some of the oolongs early off, like off the rip, just because they're really nice. It's such a differentiator, and I think people are like pretty familiar with teas like this. Like if you know a little bit about tea, I think you have like familiarity with oolong and some of the more like baseline tea varietals. And so this, I think, is a good like first tea to get in, especially if you're buying from us.
Absolutely.
Specialty.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about the notes as we go along and why it is a tea that is just so good as a starting point. But, oh man, I mean, even just immediately brewing it, I'm sure you can see the steam coming up here. It's just screaming floral, like a lot of like the biggest tasting notes. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it. It tastes like straight bee pollen. It tastes like wildflower honey. It's super amazing. I mean, this was one.
Yeah, this one we've both had before.
Oh yeah, many times. I have bought several bags.
Some of like the really nice like matchas and stuff that we haven't tried, so I'm excited to really get into like those, because those are gonna be crazy, I feel like.
Oh yeah. The matchas I'm very, very excited about.
How long do
especially
you steep the oolong for?
I do this one for a solid 2 minutes.
Okay,
I'm starting with some of the ones that kind of develop a little bit more.
And that's longer than a lot of the other ones that we do.
Yes.
Because I mean, presumably because of the big leaves.
Yes.
That's like it just takes more time.
Well, and
to get out of
also
them.
this is especially in the realm, like earlier I was talking about steamed versus like kind of pan fried, oxidized in that way. This is going to be much more of that Chinese and Taiwanese style tea.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit more time to open up. In traditional Chinese tea, like if you're talking about Gongfu brewing methods and all that kind of stuff too, a lot of those are immediate steeps or 1 to 1 minute, 30-second steeps. A lot of that is that way too, but it's like a 1-to-1 brew ratio.
Right,
It's
totally.
very, very tight. But that's not very common.
Yeah, totally.
All around, especially like when we're brewing Western style. A lot of times we have a solid 3-minute rule. Which is great, but here. Oh my goodness.
that looks
So
really
as this is opening up, I'm just gonna kind of get in here and get a smell. Oh man, it's so amazing. But these leaves, when you're used to seeing most oolongs, you still are used to like a much higher oxidation content.
Yeah.
But these leaves are so gorgeous. They're green, and then they have this like nice. I'm gonna try to pull one for you guys to see soon.
There we go.
But they've got this nice like purpled hue on the outsides. It's got this nice like ring to it. But again, I mean, this is one that I've been obsessing with for a long time, and you're about to see why.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing the dump here, you can see it's just got this gorgeous golden color.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks
like
like a glass of
that's I mean, it is incredible the color that you get from that, and the way the sun shines off that is absolutely gorgeous.
That's very exciting. Look at that.
So
I mean, it's got this like, even just off the nose like that, it's got like this just brightness to it that I feel like a lot of the the teas don't tend to have.
oh my gosh,
I haven't tried it yet.
Sorry, we forgot to cheer. I got so excited. This one is one of my favorite teas of all time.
Yeah, that's really good. It's like honeyed.
Yeah.
So sweet. Talk about like answering that
I
question.
would. That's exactly where I
if
was
you're
just
looking
gonna
for
go.
a tea that like needs nothing. I mean, this is awesome. This would be really good if we like did a draft system with it at the cafe.
Yes. In fact, I've been trying to find this tea in bulk because we have this drink at the cafe. It's a sparkling ginseng oolong. It's a drink that sells really well. It's a drink that I'm really proud of. We do it with a hairy crab oolong right now, and it's really good. It's super nutty, but this would be like the icing on the cake if we used it with this. But
that's really, really good.
And again, to just on what Luke had said, especially like if you like sweeter teas, if you like to put sugar in your teas, try this one with no sugar if you're wanting to start dialing back on putting sugar in your tea, because this is sweet.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites that we've had ever. Like, I love those.
Well, and actually here, let me see if I can get this on the palm of my hand to show you guys just how beautiful these leaves are. Because again, leaves don't usually open up this much until the second or third steep with normal oolongs. But again, the Japanese, tea growing and processing methods are so much more delicate. Yeah. But here I can see if you pop in there, just a beautiful green with that nice little kind of, orange purple hue on the outside of it. So we're gonna dive in for a second steep for this one. We may not do a second steep for all of them, but
some of them. I mean,
want to.
Well, we're gonna get into the matchas too, anyways. So those obviously we're not gonna be like
one and done
steeping or whatever. But those I think people are gonna be excited to see, because like the matchas I think are things that we haven't tried.
Yes.
And we have one here that is the most expensive matcha I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah.
And so I want to crack into that, like at the end of the matcha tasting side of things, just because it looks like so exciting to get into. It's like $39 for 20 grams.
Yeah.
It's like $2 a gram. So it's gonna be ridiculous. But I'm excited to get to that point where we can try that. And so I think we'll probably let's actually show people too, like what we have, because we haven't even like really talked about it. I mean, obviously everything's on the website, so like you can pop over to the website if you wanted to see something. But hand me like the 3 washi bags, and we can talk about those. And then we got the matchas
we'll go through
and everything. But we got like a couple green teas here. We've got the competition sencha, which I mean, all of these I'm really excited to get into, because these are like some super serious teas. And like I just love that packaging too. Like the way they do these up in Japan is just so awesome. So they're all 23 harvest. And specifically, I'm interested in comparing the high grade and the competition sencha. I think those will be like really interesting to just compare side by side.
Oh yeah.
Because those, I mean, competition senchas, like those are some pretty serious stuff. We have some too that were sent to us that were like, really, really like competition winners. It's one thing to be in the competition, but it's another thing to win.
Yeah.
And so that'll be fun. And then, the matchas I think will be really exciting.
There's one farm that we've got a black tea from over here, and that farm has won the Gyokuro competition many times.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Let us still scoot over a little more.
I drift, especially when I'm excited over oolongs. Second steep,
Oh yeah, second steep doesn't count. A lot more like fruit coming in on the second one.
Yeah. Very almost like tropical fruit too. Like I get mango,
There's definitely a mango thing going on.
Which is nice because it keeps that floral element there, especially, when we see a lot of tropical fruit, a lot of that kind of stuff too. We generally will think of nice flowers and, all sorts of other stuff.
Right. But that's really nice. I mean, the second steep on it is where I think it really shines too. Obviously all of the teas, they tend to kind of, fall off a little more as you kind of steep, just because you're getting less out of them.
Absolutely.
But this is great. I think the second steep is for a lot of these, that's where you want to be.
Yeah. And actually, just to talk on this really quickly, I'm going to be doing a couple different parameters with each tea that we're doing, but I'm generally going to stick around a couple different, just a couple different, parameters. So for this one, I'm brewing very small because we're going to be drinking a lot of tea, but this was 3 grams to 100 milliliters of water. So that, again, I'm doing very small amounts of tea just so that we can get through. We made that mistake last time. We were brewing so much.
I know. Maybe we get into some of the matchas.
Yeah, let's do a matcha now.
The only one I've had is the Ayame.
Oh, really?
I haven't had the Miyuki. I haven't had a few of these, and I mean neither of us have had the really nice one. So,
yeah, that one is
yeah.
going to be exciting. Well, yeah, let's do just a little matcha run. We'll go through a few.
Yeah, right.
So we'll just go, yeah, and then
Yeah.
that way too, I can show you guys how I prep my matcha. You know, I can show you like what I do. As far as like whisking. My bowl. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
we've got another half hour, so this is a good good
sweet.
time to switch, anyways.
Sweet, the power round.
Yeah.
Let's see if I need anything. I got matchas.
You got the bowl.
I got my bowl. Got the whisk. You know what? If you could refill this for me, please, and then if you want to
This
clean
is
that
full.
out. Oh, cool. Not
good.
yet. Okay, so let's dive into matcha.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to be starting with, Luke had already mentioned. It's called Ayame. This is by producer Mizota Chisako, and she has been making teas since she was in her early 20s, in the early 1960s. This has been a tradition that has been around with her and her family since then. And when her son had passed away, her grandchildren had kind of picked up on as far as I understand the story, they had picked up on the tradition and had continued to make this business grow and thrive with her. So she still is selling her teas today, and boy, oh boy, are they absolutely amazing. This one is one that every time I have this matcha, it just warms my heart. It is so good. It's so smooth. No astringency, like at all.
Yeah.
I'm brewing this at 165 degrees too, by the way. You could push this up to 175 and still get a lot of really good flavor out of it. But, 165 is the sweet spot with this matcha and most matchas in my opinion.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I'm doing. I am preheating my vessel, first and foremost. I find that it just kind of helps, again, with, promote that sweetness in your matcha. And I'm also dipping the end of the whisk in this water as well. And I'll talk about the whisk that I'm using in just a minute as well. But I want to kind of get this vessel going. It was in my, it's very cold here in
I'll take
Michigan.
that.
You'll take that? Thank
Yeah.
you. It's very cold here, so it definitely needs it.
Yeah.
So, okay. One other thing too that I do when I'm prepping my matchas, I always keep a towel or a microfiber around. That way I can dry out the inside of the bowl. The reason I'm doing this is because similarly to, for those of you who may be watching that are, espresso drinkers or baristas, your espresso starts oxidizing, or your coffee starts oxidizing the moment it starts touching, or not, it starts, also brewing as soon as it touches water.
Yeah.
So the same thing is happening with tea. Actually, I just have to reach over and grab my my mesh here.
Oh yeah.
I just don't want it to start brewing before I'm ready. So one thing that I've had forgotten on the other side of the table is a fine mesh strainer. This is something that will just help get those clumps out, which is something that you can break up with the whisk, but you want to be really delicate with your whisk. I see a lot of people brewing matcha, pushing the whisk on the bottom of the cup, and that will damage your whisk over time. And it also won't create perfect texture either. You want that whisk to be floating to the top so you can get those really nice bubbles that you see.
And that's what you see at a lot of cafes, and I think a lot of people in general tend to do that. Is they just kind of crank on these whisks.
Yeah.
And it just you start to get some pretty serious fraying on them.
Yeah.
And people replace them so often.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's we got the two whisks here. This is kind of more of the conventional style whisk that everybody grab one on Amazon or whatever. But then this whisk right here, which is handmade.
Yeah.
Harrison was getting into it. It's just crazy, the difference. It just looks so wild, and it's exactly 100 prongs, which I always think is funny.
Yeah.
I counted them, by the way.
You counted them?
Yeah.
So it's for sure. I
Yep.
did not count. I trusted.
Yeah.
I was just like, if you're gonna go through all that effort, I'm gonna believe you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking great in here. Let me just show this to you guys real quickly. It's kind of hard with the blue of the bowl, but it is very, very, very green.
Yeah.
And
And this one's extremely fragrant, and it's really not
Yes.
that bad too. You see, the little ones are $25, but the big bag, I think it's still even cheaper than if you were to buy just a regular matcha
Yeah.
online too, which is cool. Yeah, this is gonna be exciting though.
Okay, so I'm going in. So there's lots of different ways that you can whisk matcha, but the thing that I find to be most effective is you go around just to collect any particles stuck to the sidewalls, and then I start working in Z motions. Again, not hitting the bottom. It's okay if you brush it, but you want to be very light with this, a very light wrist
Yeah, you
too,
don't need to,
so
like,
you don't hurt
scrape it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can just hear, just the liquid moving around and everything getting working here.
And it's nice to have like to take care of those whisks too,
Yes.
because like once they start getting beaten up, like it's harder and harder and harder to get what you got when you first got the whisk.
And also, a lot of these, even a lot of the cheaper ones too, they're handmade.
Yeah.
Somebody went through and made those. So that's something that I try to think of and try to really appreciate as I am, as I'm doing my. Here, would you rinse that off real quickly? Here, you can just rinse off.
That's a good idea.
But also here, let me interrupt myself to show you guys why you all came here. This is so green and so gorgeous. I want to drink it immediately, but I will just throw a little bit into here so you can see just how beautiful that matcha is. Actually, you know what? I'll toss some into here for you. Oh, I guess this is my
It's gonna
cup
be tough.
anyway.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna get a little bit on the counter, but
that's how it goes.
just because we're gonna be making
Thank
a few,
you.
we might as
You
well
got
not
rags.
share. Yeah.
Oh yeah, super buttery, like on
Oh,
the
yeah.
nose. I haven't tried it yet, which I'm very excited to do. This is the first matcha we're trying today.
Yes.
But this one, I mean, when I tried this for the first time, it like changed my perspective of what matcha tasted like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at the cafe level, we're so used to like the kind of bitterness and stuff, but this,
It's like milky. Like it tastes like
Yeah.
a latte
it's so
without milk.
It's so different.
Like it's crazy, but
but
it
also
just,
we gotta like credit that whisk too, because like that thing.
That's real. I did a test side by side. I mean,
Yeah.
this matcha is incredible as it is, but just the way. I mean, here I'll show a close-up difference. I don't know if you already did, but just a conventional whisk versus this one. I mean, you get so much more space in
Yeah.
the way that it works. Those middle prongs too. I can show in that way too. Like this, you can just see my hand. This
Yeah.
one, you
Yeah,
see a
right.
whisk.
Yeah.
This one almost disappears.
It's like
it's
light as a
so
feather.
light. Yeah, it's crazy. So that when
Yeah.
you're moving through the matcha, it just creates the creamiest texture. It breaks up
That's
all
so
of those
crazy.
fines. It's incredible the
Yeah.
difference that it makes. And that's not something I mean, this was me realizing this like a few weeks ago how much a whisk matters.
Yeah.
I have been a huge matcha fan for a long time, but it wasn't until I brought in these whisks, which actually, fun fact. The people who make this,
yeah?
it is.
You told
This is
me
my
that.
favorite fact. I've been telling it. We'll meet somebody on the side of the road and be like, "Have you heard?" But
Megan loves the whisk.
but
hey.
hey, Megan. Thank you. But here, I'll give you the fun fact then. So the lineage between this maker and his mentor that taught him dates back to the Sengoku period in Japan, making bamboo for Nobunaga, actually.
What is that, 1400s?
Which is what was that?
What is the year of, what is that, 1400s?
Oh yeah, like
It's-
14,
yeah.
1500s. Yeah,
That's so crazy.
It was
It's
like
not
I think
that
it's
big.
like 1460 to like 1580. So it's
Right.
like right in
Yeah,
that like
it's so crazy.
feudal area. So
This is
it's just cool.
Unbelievable.
Hi Evan.
Yeah, I am excited to try this when we compare it to like some of the other stuff. Like we've got,
Mm-hmm.
and for those who are just tuning in, like we have here, grab the little black tin. We've got this guy, which
this is the one we
neither
keep
of us
talking about.
have tried because we have it and it's so expensive that we don't even want to like break into it. But it's,
We're gonna.
yeah. We're doing it today. It's 20 grams for like $39, and like so literally $2 a gram. So like this is like what you pay for like a real matcha at a cafe.
Yeah.
But like at wholesale cost. So I'm excited to get into this and compare. But
Something that I want to be reviewing in the future too is I want to be on this journey of finding the most expensive, insane matcha that I can find. I saw one tin that has been sold out for a long time that was like, it was like a 20-gram tin for like $300. I mean, that's just insane. Because also too, this is a good point to bring up. Cost does not necessarily.
You pay for like provenance at a certain point.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
I mean, any product, like coffee is the same way, wine is the same way. Like, you get to a ceiling where like the value to like price ratio starts to change.
Yeah.
And then it's more about like, oh, this is from like, you know, a very highly celebrated producer. It's from like an award winner.
Yeah.
It's more about that. This one, I mean, which is crazy. This was made like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did you see the date on that?
Yep. When Jeff and
Yeah.
I had gotten on the call to talk about, ordering in this newest batch of matcha.
Yeah.
One of the things they said is there might be some stuff that you might not get immediately
Literally,
because we have to make sure that they grind it. And I was like, okay,
That's-
cool.
So that's manufacturer's date of November, of this year. So like this is literally like maybe 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
And so this is when we were talking about this with the importers, they were like, oh yeah, we really need some forewarning before you order it because they can only make 40 grams an hour.
Yeah.
Because of the mill. I haven't even opened or smelled this one yet. So like this one,
It's already
it's like an
coming up.
artifact.
So this is
Wow,
called
that's so bright. Look at
it's
like
called Miyuki.
that color is crazy.
It is a competition grade. So I want to talk a little bit about
That's crazy.
demystifying the ceremonial and like culinary grade.
Yeah.
Of course it exists. It's something that is very real.
I mean, it's a good like
but,
classifier,
Yeah.
but just it's crazy to me that like so just for those like into it who are just learning about it, like really like the only reason like people are paying the prices they are for competition grade here in America, like the quote unquote competition grade that like you have at a lot of the cafes and stuff, is like just because there's so many people involved in the equation. Like
Yes.
there's there's the producer, and then there's a Japanese large conglomerate that buys it from a small micro importer, and then they send it over to the U.S. and then the U.S. will distribute it to other distributors, and there's just like everybody needs like a cut of the pie, and so that's why you see matcha for like $200 a pound
Yep.
or more
Yep.
for like decent matcha. But
Yep.
for this, I mean, that was the whole thing with this is like we could go avoid all of that, do the extra legwork because obviously this is harder for like coffee, for example, which I'm sure a lot of people watching are more familiar with coffee than tea. But the coffee side of things, like I can't just call up an importer and ask them to ship me coffee because of the weight to value ratio. Like they need to ship out at minimum 151 pounds in a big burlap bag for us to be able to patronize that cafe or the business, the producer. And so they can't just throw that in the mail and ship it here. But with tea, they can. So they can literally pack this up at the farm and ship it straight to us, which is cool. I feel like in the coffee world, we've wanted to, and everybody in the roastery and the green buying space has always wanted to deviate from the path of buying from importers and large conglomerates. But it's very difficult to break into because you need to buy so much volume of coffee for it to be economically efficient. But this tea, this is not. This is just like the only thing that's really separating us is the language, and which has been great. I know Harrison's been on it lately. Picking up Japanese and being able to communicate with these individuals is just so important. And so the stuff that we've been able to get in just based off of the last like 6 months to a year that we've been working on this project, it's astounding. Like the leaps and bounds in quality, especially like quality to price ratio, it's completely different, which is so awesome to see. And so this is the competition, which I have not tried. I don't know if you've tried this one before.
I
So
have not.
yeah, we'll do a little cheers and see what we think about this one because this is going to be really exciting.
Yes, and so just for
Also, Megan said we should do the tastings more often, like the one I think that we
Oh,
had here.
yeah.
So now that we have everything into, we want to do another tasting where it's like, we have everything, come and give it a try. So, anyways,
just a quick forewarning too.
Yeah.
This is where we got to be careful when it comes to caffeine content.
I know, these are very high.
These are after that first matcha, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you're gonna be seeing sounds soon enough.
Yes.
Man, this is
Dumping that for me,
Yeah,
please.
I'll give you a little dump. Here.
So again, just before we dive in,
I was
am
gonna
I
cheers you.
taking this?
Oh no,
Okay.
no.
So before
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm taking both.
Yeah.
Let's cheers. Let's sip
All
and
right.
then I'll talk. We got to do what the people want.
Oh man.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And like, That's upsetting too, because like after like how much I was talking about how
Yeah.
good that Ayame is, which it is. This is just like it's just like a league over, but it's like
Wow.
it doesn't denote
the
anything that
packaging?
I've said so far. So, competition grade. This is, you know, it is, you know,
Yeah.
it is not as necessarily arbitrary as something like culinary versus ceremonial, because all of these are going to be ceremonial.
Yeah.
It's just different degrees of ceremonial.
Yeah, I think that's,
competition.
important to
Competition
note.
grade is going to be, you know, much more like competition and heritage grade are going to be like the highest grades that you can get.
Man, this is so
This
is so
is
good.
just good.
It's just like a silky body, like it's crazy. And it's
Yeah.
just like there's a big like umami bomb in there too.
I was gonna say this one is
but it's not the umami that stems from like bitterness, like a
No.
lot of them do. Like this is its own world.
Yeah.
It's so buttery.
it's
like,
buttery. Like this one I get notes of like
like everything that you like.
Wow.
It's so crazy. Like everything I knew about matcha is completely different.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one, well, the thing I have to say is this one has a much drier body, which
Yeah.
lends it to a lot more of those brighter notes, and
Yeah.
also like the warmer kind of nutty tones in it as well. It's very nice. The other one was a very wet matcha. This one again is very dry.
Yeah.
Brewed the same way, 3 grams, 100 mils.
Yeah.
But wow,
That's so-
wow,
yeah.
is that one of the best matchas I've had in a very long time.
I love that we're like saying that, and then we're about to like redefine everything with the most expensive matcha.
We're gonna do
Because
that
this
right
one's next. Yeah. All right. So this is the big boy right here, the Tsuyoshi. This is 38 or $39.
Yeah, $2 a
for
gram.
yeah, $2 a gram basically. So you open the tin, and not only is it inside of a little tin, but it's inside of a cute little baggie, just like that. So I mean, that's all you get. That's just that's the reality of what you're getting. So anyways, what I'm gonna do is, what do you think about this? Should I dump it into this little
Yeah.
tin?
Yeah.
So let me do that.
We're gonna make sure everybody on the team gets to try it.
Yeah, this is
This is a fun one.
yeah, this is gonna be crazy. All right.
I've already got matcha all over myself.
You're making a matcha mess. Here's that. Just want to dry that out.
You.
All right, and so this is like the big one right here. Like this is, so yeah, again, for those tuning in, $2 a gram. This is one that we both have not tried and really is like the most expensive matcha that we could find. And so, oh man, it's got like a weird like peppermint note to it.
What? Okay.
Yeah, like, isn't that weird? Yeah.
What? Okay.
So
that
different.
is exactly what that is.
Yeah. Man, here, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that way,
Whoa. The texture, and
Whoa.
when I tell you,
there's still a little in there, but
if you feel this bag alone, it
Yeah.
feels like
Like
a
pillowy.
squishmallow. Like it's like it is so
look
pillowy.
at the color on that camera.
Oh yeah. Wow. I mean,
So
this is
funny.
This is green.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's
It's
so
like
like
neon
vegetal.
almost,
It's like
yeah.
almost like a little mentholy.
You
Like
can even see too.
It's so
on my
different.
Finger too, just how bright that pigment is, especially
Yeah.
compared to like my hoodie. It's like neon.
that's so crazy.
Okay.
This is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be really fun.
Yeah. So it's still 3 grams per 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mils. I'm interested to see like which one my actual favorite is, because
Yeah.
obviously like, the best doesn't always need to be your favorite.
And that's what I was gonna say about
Yeah.
the competitive. Like I've had some just regular premium grade.
That's so funny, that color. It's crazy.
I've had some like regular premium grade that is like some of my favorites. Like even some of like the one farm that we've been absolutely obsessed with
got that
here
water
is
real
Chionoen. And a lot of their like premium, just like basic grade stuff is like some of my favorite teas I've ever had.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of the nicer ones too are not something that you want to drink every day. Which sometimes brings it lower on the tier list for me. But even though it's
Yeah.
generally is always still like incredibly high as far as vibes and
Yeah.
just how it tastes in general.
So again, yeah, what we're tasting here is the Tsuyoshi. This is the most expensive matcha we could find when we started importing matcha. So This is gonna be great. We both have. It's been so price prohibitive for us. We haven't even tried it. So this is like, a big moment for us. We're gonna get to try. Almost used the wrong
Almost
whisk
used the
there.
wrong whisk for the nice matcha.
Yeah, this is gonna be. I'm so excited to give this a try. Like just comparing this to the other ones, just at this same level, is gonna be nuts. But
Whoa.
like really like interesting nose on this one too. Like it's got this.
Just you wait till you smell
Yeah.
this right here.
This is gonna be crazy. I love the Miyuki though because it has like the date on there too, so
Yeah.
like we can really like know when this was done. This Miyuki was nuts. Like this was
Insane.
that's crazy.
I think that's my new favorite matcha right now.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, we might be
And, well,
changing.
I guess
it
that's
real
not
quick.
fair to
Yeah.
say right now.
Yep.
Because this is the Cadillac of the bunch right now.
Yeah, totally. This is really special.
And as I'm just brushing the foam aside, I mean, just such an incredible color.
Yeah.
Here, if you don't mind, just moving that aside for
Yeah,
me.
give it a little washi.
So I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but again, even more of that pale, beautiful green coming from this one. The brightness is, there we go. That brightness is really preserved, but on the nose, that kind of peppermint-like smell, which is very strong, by the way. It is like full blast mint. It's lost with
Yeah.
brewing. So I'm so excited to see.
Nice pour.
What?
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty less spillage
It's not
this
easy
time.
without the spout.
No, I know.
All
You
right.
gotta pour hard.
Yeah.
Here, you know what? I'm gonna drink this whole thing. I'm
Ooh.
I'm digging my own grave.
Yeah, I mean, what I've noticed is like all of the best matchas have like a level of like adjacence to all of the original teas.
Yes.
Like the closer that they feel, I feel like they taste and smell to the tea, like the more just high quality I feel like I associate them with.
Absolutely.
Big nose on this one too. Like this is just
Similar to coffee, like a lot of the bitterness that you kind of like,
Yeah.
quote unquote need that, like, honey or sweetener for
Right.
the latte, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough.
yeah.
Cheers. Tsuyoshi matcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's really good.
That's crazy.
Actually, it's like a perfect blend between the Ayame
Yeah.
and the
Miyuki.
Miyuki, not Mitsue. It's the Miyuki. It's like a perfect blend. You got the brightness that we
Yeah.
had in the Miyuki.
It's like the velvety body is
the-
so different. It's like so, like this one I feel like is like a little heavier.
Yeah.
Like it's not as light on his feet as like the Miyuki and stuff, but like it's good that it's like that. I mean, that's just insane.
so good.
I wonder if it has, still made a couple months ago, this was ground. And it's just, oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, the
It's
Fukuoka
insane.
as well. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, and also too,
That's so wild.
matcha, like similar to coffee.
Yeah.
There's a difference in how freshly it's ground, but a couple months is totally fine. Like
Yeah,
up
definitely.
to a year is completely
it's
fine.
pretty
It's
dried,
like
that's the
exactly.
thing,
Like
yeah.
it's not like it's going to go bad, but
Yeah.
it has a much longer shelf life than coffee for sure. Like
Yeah.
much
the
longer.
tea that like I
But-
would imagine people are buying at like Trader Joe's and stuff are years,
It
years
is.
out. So
It's unestimated between 4 and 6 years that
That's
those
so
teas
crazy.
were picked.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
yeah, that's a long time.
Every
I
single
still-
one that we've had here has been picked this year.
Yeah, the
You know.
Miyuki was picked like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Like,
the Miyuki was I think my
Or-
favorite still,
The Miyuki is still
especially
first
from
flush.
like a value.
So it was
thing.
picked in May, but it was ground 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is,
yeah, right,
I mean,
yeah.
that is
Yeah,
amazing.
I know.
But from a value perspective, like you were saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Which next we have a really
Yeah,
special
we should.
one.
We'll wrap up with that one because
Yeah.
we got like 5 minutes left. But
Oh,
that
yeah.
one, because I love this one. This is like my favorite, like late night tea. I drank it last night, and that's why I had to bring it from home. So this is fun.
I'm gonna save this matcha for myself for later.
I know. I am gonna make more. I can't wait to bring some of this up to the cafe.
I
too.
know it'll be so fun
That's so wild. That color
because
is
we should
crazy.
do a video, and this is someone that I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Yeah, let
is,
me wash these
does,
out
Thank
real
you.
quick.
Does the quality of matcha make your latte better? Because realistically, again, we're talking about drinking matcha straight. We're talking about
Thing. And
you know,
I'm
keeping
washing
this,
out
you
the
know,
cups,
as
and
fresh
can you hear
and
me
as is
if
as
you
possible.
are listening
But
to my microphone?
you know,
Harrison doesn't know.
does that actually
On the
affect
live,
when you have
we
milk in
upload
your
on
matcha?
YouTube.
So that's a
You
video
will
that I want to
hear
do
me
because I have
washing
had
dishes
some
and talking
matchas
over
that
him,
I
and it will be really funny,
that
even though he's
were
saying things that are way
ceremonial
important
grade,
than
or
me
what
singing.
have you, that
He
just
will be
didn't taste
watching the
as
live
great
stream
with
and
milk,
be like,
you know.
"Oh, haha,
So
very
I'm excited
funny."
to find like
And
what
I'm
is the
walking back
perfect
with the clean
matcha
cups,
for
and he still
the
doesn't
cafe,
know, and
which I think that this Ayame is gonna be like the ultimate latte matcha too, as much as it is on its own. So that's a video that I want to do in the
Latte
future that I'm
matcha.
very excited about. But
Yeah.
we're gonna close this out with a
yeah,
special one.
Shifting gears, yeah.
So-
Definitely, I mean, a big shift in what the teas are. You know,
Oh
this is,
yeah.
What
So
temperature do we brew this guy at, too?
this guy, so I'll do a little introduction. As you can see, I'm over here cranking this temp up.
Yeah.
I'm bringing this up to 195.
Yeah.
This is Hojicha. This is one that is very popular over here in America.
Oh,
a lot
they
of you.
said, have you all experimented with hojicha?
Here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. And this is an insanely good Hojicha too. This is made from Gyokuro stems. So this is I forgot the price point on this one, but this
It's
one is
$15.
Yeah, $15. So this one is
Yeah,
made with like premium tea.
My guy.
My guy. This is the Hojicha to end all Hojichas.
Yeah, this
I've
one
been
is
drinking.
awesome.
So fun fact, I've been drinking Hojicha and twig tea since I was a wee little lad. This is my first Japanese tea I had ever had that sprouted my love for all things beverage. You
Yeah.
know, so like that, I acquaint my coffee profession in Hojicha. You know, like
Yeah.
it all stems from here. No pun
Stems.
intended.
Ha.
So
Yeah.
you know,
No, this is really good. I mean, I was drinking this last night. Like, this is, I think, one of the best, like, value teas that you can get to. Like, I don't know what the weight is on this. I think it's like 50 grams or so.
yeah.
For like the packaging, and like just so good. Like such an easy like drinking tea. Like just at night, just sit there. It's just like that smokiness is just so so welcoming.
I think I got 200 mils in here.
Yeah, we'll see
Might
what
as well.
happens. And this one too, I like because you don't have to like. It's not like a lot of the Gyokuros and like the nicer ones that like require you to really measure out like the time of your steeps.
Yep.
And the dose of your water and the tea. You can kind of just like let it rip. Like it's really
Yes.
not. I mean, I get like every tea, you know, you can be practicing that, but like this, you can be like, oh, I'm short, whatever, or like you forget about it. You know, like you're middle of the night, you're kind of doing something, you forget about it. You come back, you're like, oh, I made that.
Yeah.
Great. Let's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
have it. You know.
Oh yeah.
So this one, yeah, is awesome. This I think is one of my favorite ones that we've ever bought.
Yeah.
Just because it's like so different in a category that is like almost always very, very uniform in
Yes.
its taste.
Absolutely. And especially because of the roasted gyokuro in there, and it's no wasted gyokuro. It's using lower stems, stuff
Yeah,
that
yep.
is not necessarily qualified for
Right.
you know,
Which, yeah,
premium
I mean,
gyokuro, but
It's still. I think the coolest part is it's from like the premium, you know,
Oh,
farms
yeah.
themselves. So like a lot. I mean, that's how it works in coffee and in wine too. Like you know, they take for wine, for example, like they're growing the nicest grapes on there. On a specific vineyard,
Mm-hmm.
and once they make a certain amount, they can't like make any more batches of that specific really
Right.
nice. So then they kind of like declassify. So they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna use the same stuff but make it in this way, and we're gonna move down kind of the ladder here.
yeah.
And so that's what a lot of these like nicer farms are doing is they take like what's left of what they can't use
Yeah.
in those really nice like award-winning teas, and then you get this. Was it singing?
It was singing. The kettle was singing.
Anyways,
Well,
yeah.
Just to continue to touch on that, not only are you getting no waste, but the thing that's so special about Hojicha too is that it's perfect for people who are pregnant. It's perfect for people
Yeah.
who are elderly, people that can't have caffeine, people who choose to not have
Right.
caffeine.
And also,
This
I feel
is
like this would be like
perfect.
if you were like an ex-smoker too. I feel like this has gotta like satisfy
Oh.
some itch that you need.
Ex-smoker
Yeah.
here, and I can say that, but it's not smoky.
Yeah, it's- right.
But it hits,
Yep.
it scratches that itch, which actually,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
palate cleansing type thing. I think that you get like, oh, that color's crazy.
This just gets.
Looks like
I'm so
looks like
excited.
soup. Yeah. That is so dark. That is so much darker than when I made it last night too. I also made it in the dark, so
Fair. I made this one.
That's crazy.
I did 6 grams of 200 mils.
Yeah.
So I hit exactly, I want to say probably somewhere between like 195 and 200 mils.
Yeah.
So I'm probably one drop from
Jeez,
being
look at
perfect.
that.
But yeah, look at that. I'm going to try to get that sun in there and
Yeah.
see if I can get a good angle. Yeah, you can see
Like
the
deepest
like
red.
the deepest red
Yeah.
ever. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Amazing. Next time we have to get into the Kocha. That one is
I
one
know,
of my
yeah,
favorite
that's gonna be a
ones.
really fun
We-
one.
That one just deserves its own video.
I know, yeah.
Direct.
Sweet.
So we're gonna end this. We're incredibly caffeinated.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Oh,
end
yeah.
this on a sweet note. So this is
Yeah.
premium hojicha right here.
Yep. It's so nice.
Oh my god. Yeah. This one's fruity too. You know, like it's as much as that you get that toasted puff
Yeah.
rice
It just
taste.
makes me want to like drink it all, like just like sip
Yeah.
on it all day. And it's
Yeah.
nice because you like can. You don't have to like get this whole like a big, you know, like oh I can only drink a little bit because I'll get too over caffeinated. I
Yeah.
can make like a liter of this.
Yeah.
Just kind of sip on it all day. And it's nice. Like for me, like I do that with a water bottle or whatever I have on my desk. So this is really nice.
Weirdly
it's just
enough,
so good.
Tell me if you were here, if you taste this.
Yeah.
I hear the ocean. But if you, I've had this a few times now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling out like, and it's on the back end, but it's almost like a strawberry shortcake type of note. Like take
I
another
can
sip.
kind of see that.
It's like it's past the toasted rice. Like it's almost like strawberry like Basque cheesecake. Like
Yeah.
like you get that like that roasty
could see
toasty,
that,
but then
yeah.
you get this like brightness, this bite, and then this almost like sweetness
Yeah.
that almost is reminiscent of cheesecake or something
Yeah.
like that. Like that is like it's a small note. Like it's not like,
It's
like,
not that
I'm
fun.
searching.
No, I know what you
but-
mean now. Yeah, this is so good. I love it. And for $15, you can make
Yeah.
this forever. Like that's like 100 little steeps. Or,
Yeah.
I mean doses in general.
Yeah, not to mention the steeps. Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah,
Cool.
this is also organic too. For those of you, all of these are organic actually. But
Cool.
Well,
All right.
that's it.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna close up here. We did an hour, so we put our time in. We've got plenty more teas to get through, but I think this was a good first foray into the world. So thank you to the tea gurus. Hey, Mike.
you grew.
What's up? Anyways, so good old Jake there. What's up? So Jake, thanks for tuning into the end of this too anyways. But so, yeah, thank you to Instagram, thank you to YouTube, everybody who's tuning in and watching this. Very interesting kind of first foray into some of the most specialties. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next time. Probably do this like next week or something, and then we'll do a big like tasting party. We'd love to have everybody
Yes.
here and do that live as well. So
Yep.
cool. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
See ya.